Can angels see our future? And which angels are you talking about? Those who live in the fjords? Or?
Any of them.
Oh, any of them. Aha, the instigator over here. So far, they haven't informed me that they can see the future. But they can estimate. There's a difference, huh? They can somehow surmise, intuit, if you will, what you're most likely to do under certain circumstances. But that's the best they can do. I don't want anybody to know my future. It's hidden with me. Okay.
You talking angels, we're also talking devas, the devas.
That's different.
Same thing? No, different, huh?
I think the devas are the fairy tale, fairies.
Fairies.
Mhm.
They're different from angels.
Yes, I think so. Angels have wings. Devas don't need wings. They're like spurts of energy. Huh? Now this one is not a question. New experience with meditation. I'm starting to see Swami Rama in meditation. Is he showing or visiting me, or is it my imagination? Sometimes I see a master in my mind's eye. How does she know? I assume it's a she. Is he dropping in on me, or is it my imagination? I'm going to keep this for fingerprints and figure out who wrote this. Okay, two things here. Imagination has two dimensions. One, it's connected to your memory, which is not the same. All the experience you and I have gone through, we retain. The problem is not memory. The problem is recall. That's the hardest thing with memory. You say, well, I know that. Where is it? So that's the first part of imagination. It's connected to memory. Two, the second part is the creative part. I'll say to you, imagine what it'd be like to live on a star. Oh, let's think about that. Or to go under the sea in the coral region. What must that be like? You'd be thinking about it, huh? Or let's design something. What kind of house would you like to live in? So you start pondering. That's the second part. Now, if you're fond of someone, usually, sometimes the image of that person can just assert itself spontaneously. You think, why am I thinking of that person? You got a picture in your mind. That's normal. You might hear a tune or see a sight, and suddenly there's an association. Oh, it comes back. That's coming from your memory. You can also create a situation in your mind with that person that's brand new, but it's in your mind. I'm getting to it. And sometimes there are visitations, as it were, from the other side. It's hard to tell. It is very hard to tell. As you know, when people leave their bodies, die, it's not difficult to have them come back and visit you in the next 2 weeks, if you ask for it. But they'll come at the most unusual times. That is possible. That one I've proven to myself. So does Swami Rama visit you in meditation? It's very possible. I can't give you a completely satisfactory answer, only you can. But it's possible. So, that's not bad. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
Does he check in on all of us
Yep.
when we're meditating?
Yep,
Really?
I asked him.
How does he, no. How does he do that?
I said, do you have a television set? You just turn channels? He said, yeah.
Yeah.
I go every student every day.
Really? Oh, it's amazing.
But he probably go boom, 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 boom. You can, hey, think about it. When you love someone, you know their ways, you know their moods, right? You can just kind of even glance at them and tell they're in a good mood, they're not in a good mood, right? They don't have to say a thing. Well, can you imagine his heightened powers? All he has to do is take a quick look, and he knows he's all right. Oh, he needs a little energy. So he zaps you. You do it all the time. A mother can do it with her kids, watching them play. She knows exactly their mood at the moment. And are they feeling all right? So he can too. First of all, you're in the tradition. You have one of them looking after you all the time. But Swamiji will be very specially concerned for his students. So he's always listening. You can talk to him. Now, here's a gift for you for the new year. If you can, notice my paraphrase. If you can, you're going to start something new, an adventure, a business proposition, baking a cake, anything. Start it on a Monday or a Thursday. And call the sages in and say, boost me. Just let it go then. That's my gift to you today. Does the unconscious use mirror neurons, oh boy, to change our energy pattern to the higher consciousness of the master? Good question. That's partially right. I'll get back to it. How does being in the presence of a master literally change us? Oh, that's easy. How are we able to bring forth this power, higher vibration from within? Does it need to be invoked by a master? Well, we have to dissect that one a little bit. Go back to the first one. Your body, neurons and all, your DNA, your cells, which are constantly changing, dying and rebuilding, new, are following a blueprint that is not material. Let me make an analogy. You bake a cake, prepare a meal, build new stairs on your house like Denny did last week. What do you start with? A blueprint. We call it a recipe. Got it? You have to sustain that recipe into three-dimensional space called your body. Your body becomes the instrument of that recipe to create it out here. So you put things in order so that the recipe can be, keyword, manifested. You are constantly using your neurons, even new ones, because your brain is the instrument of the blueprint and passes on from there into your body. So you have the movements, make the selections, and the brain is constantly, as it were, going over the blueprint, seeing that you do it the right way, checking, and so on. So the blueprints are, I mean, the neurons are always involved, and that's energy. Matter is energy. Spirit is force, different. Now, how does one being in the presence of a master literally changes? Okay? That's easy. In other words, all you have to do is walk into the presence of energy. You'll feel it. When you came in this building, the moment you walked through the door, the temperature changed. The energy was different. And you picked up on that. You could open up your coat. You wouldn't want to do it outside. So, you are 24/7 receptive to all the energy that's coming at you. What you don't know is that there is an enormous wave of energy coming from 30,000 feet up, and it's going right through you constantly. It's called the Hertz cycle. Look it up sometime. So we're walking in energy all the time, but we don't always pick it up. But if we get out of it, we'll be out of sorts a little bit. So you can pick up energy from people. Animals pick it up all the time. Did you know you give off an aroma when you express an emotion? I have met some meditators who can smell it. They can smell fear or anger in people. Smell it. Now animals can. That's what alerts them right away. When you show fear to an animal, it puts him on defense. When you're at ease, he knows he's at ease. There's nothing up your sleeve. Keep that in mind. God, we're learning a lot tonight. Now, how can we bring forth the power? Concentrate on it. You've heard of something called chakras? Well, think of them as, how can I say, special areas of dynamism that express the blueprint in certain ways because it has to work through an organ. For example, your eye does not hear sounds. Your ear doesn't see color because of the way it's shaped by the blueprint. You're picking up sound, that's a form of energy. You're picking up color or light, that's another form of energy. And you know by focusing on the particular organ, even if you're in a noisy coffee shop, you can sometimes hear a conversation amidst other people, even though it's further away. That's amazing how the ear can be so discerning, but it can. But it needs the mind to do it with the neurons. So it's a matter of focusing and intent. As a meditator, you're more perceptive. You're more discerning. And so you can pick up faster probably and more in depth than the average person. You also, do you ever notice, I don't know if this happens to you, when you go shopping and you go through the vegetable counters, you're trying to figure out, do you ever notice a certain vegetable may just pull you in? Your body knows. That's the one you ought to go with. And if you feel little, then don't go for that vegetable. In other words, your blueprint has a built-in safety feature. It wants what is best for you all the time. But most people don't pay attention to it. But once you start, oh boy. So it's a matter of focusing, training, wanting it. That's very important. If you want to be more sensitive, you will get the opportunities daily. For example, the simplest way is when you're doing a task, put your full attention on it. That's how you increase your ability.
Question.
Uh-oh.
You mentioned very quickly that spirit is not energy but force.
But of course.
Can you expand on that a little bit more?
Yeah. Energy is palpable. subtle, but it's palpable. Force is not. In other words, this is not easy, because we tend to be empirical in our daily communication with life. There is a receptivity and a dynamism that's within us that can't be measured as energy. But it can use energy and create energy. It can exert a pressure, if you will, a contact, without going through the instrumentality of energy. I know that sounds crazy. Put it this way, Swamiji could appear in this room instantly if he wanted to. That's not energy. That's his spiritual force. He decides, I want to show up. In other words, spirit can affect things at a distance without going through the medium, but energy cannot.
So then, prana is energy, prana is not spirit.
Semi.
Semi?
There's like grades, huh?
Okay.
It's kind of a mixture, a little of both. It's a little of both. Because your breath is the carrier of prana. But prana can work without breath, too, if it wants to. So it's kind of semi.
Okay. So guru would be a force then, not energy. Okay.
But he can affect energy in you if he wants to.
Okay. Right.
For example, if you calm down, say you got an upset tummy.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's energy.
Mm-hmm.
There's a malfunction of energy going on. You feel, oh, why did I eat that? Now you can endure it, be a masochist if you want, but you are a yogi, so why not calm it down? Focus on the solar plexus. Just focus, even if you don't use the sound. That will start to bring it down. You're using now spirit focusing on matter. Matter is receptive to spirit, not the other way around. It's a higher dimension and more powerful. If you added the chakra sound, you could really help yourself and quiet down that upsetness.
So attention is spirit?
Yep. Thank you. Perfect. Yeah. How can we fine-tune our senses and intuition? You already know. Pay attention. First intent, then attend. That's it. There's nothing more. How do you improve your driving? You better pay attention. Same old story. If you don't pay attention to what you're cooking, it can burn. What is the pulsing in the third eye during meditation? What is the pulsing at the heart center during yoga nidra? Oh boy. That pulls earlier questions together beautifully. We talked about energy and force. Remember that distinction? Okay. When you concentrate here, you have a gland center. You know what it is?
Pituitary. Pineal.
Oh, pineal. I knew it was a P.
Pineal. When you concentrate here, again, that's the spirit touching, as it were, matter, the physical living matter here. When that spirit concentrates here, that pineal gland separates. It begins to discharge a fluid. But the fluid stays there and starts to form not quite a circle. What's the word I'm looking for? It forms the,
Oval.
like an oval. Huh? The point up and the point down. Now, hang on for this. Your blueprint has been so composed that when that secretion is sufficiently dispersed into the oval form, the third eye opens. It's called the third eye because it looks like your eye, but except it's oval. Now, what you see with these two eyes, you can see with this eye, even when these are closed. How about that? I met a man who was completely blind. I tested him. And he was pouring me tea, passing out things, walking around. And I just stared at him with these two eyes. I had to go back to my teacher and say, "What's going on here?" He said, "His third eye's open." I mean, he can see? Yeah, he can see everything. He can see beyond what the two eyes can see, but he can see everything that the two eyes, and more. Oh, okay. Now, don't ask me why we have it that way, but we have it. So let's assume, let's just take it for granted. Now let's work with it. So the act of bringing your concentration here, at times, when it secretes, you will feel a pulsation. Don't force it. Just let it happen. This is important. Do not force it. Just keep meditating. Sometimes this will even feel painful. Have you ever had pain? That'll go away. If it doesn't, come out of meditation then. Maybe it's just too painful. But after a while, it'll go away. So it's a healthy sign. It's a good sign. Keep on it. Now, don't be disappointed if you don't feel it. The pulsation. It can be very subtle at times, so it's just kind of leaking out and you don't feel it. So don't worry. It is happening. It cannot not happen, because that's the rules of the game. If you hit your knee sharply and there's a lot of pain, the best way to increase the pain is put your concentration on the pain. It definitely will increase. Try it if you don't believe me. The point is, wherever you put concentration by the force, the matter responds according to its nature and structure. Now, when you do Yoga Nidra, where you place your attention here, the center, same principle. This will sometimes pulsate. Most people don't feel it. They feel this one a little easier than this one. But it's the same principle. Now, what's happening here? When this one reaches a certain degree of, we'll call it maturity, maturation, from doing Yoga Nidra over and over and over, you become pain-free. You will lose all sensation of your body. You will now move in what Swamiji called the library of the universe. Now get this, the library of the universe. Any question you ask, the answer comes immediately. Try it out, see what happens. How about that, huh? Including the future. Including the future. But you have to get there. Oh, you will know when you're there, believe me. Now, you will also have the deepest, most enriching rest for the body that you could ever have. And so you could cut your sleep down between 3 to 5 hours and be more rested than if you had slept all day. How about that? I met a man once who in front of me repeatedly could go into a state of meditation in front of me and he had such excruciating pain due to the cancer in his stomach that he had to carry like a flask that was pouring morphine into his body. He turned it completely off. And he didn't want to come out of meditation. In other words, he expanded past the concentration of his pain so that his body no longer could feel that disruption. Again, it's just amazing what you can do when you start to concentrate. I know people who were paralyzed by polio, who, as it were, reinvented their nervous system, got all their movement back. How about that? I'm convinced more and more we grow old or we age because we want to, not because we have to. I'm convinced of that. And it's sad when I see so many people simply accept and surrender to their aging. And they think that's the way it should be. No, it isn't. You're defeating the body and you don't know it.